How's it going, everybody? This is Novakast back with another video, and oh boy, even though it's been a week or two when it comes down to the or at least the start of the drama of Quantum TV, on and off this guy decides to try to, after time has passed, to try to get back at the people who have called him out for his bullshit. In one particular video, which I guess he calls the power of an apology, he tries to talk smack about some of the content creators. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get right into this. It's gonna be interesting.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Quantum TV podcast. So today we're going to talk about some things I've learned. Oh yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. This last month has been very entertaining, to say the least.
I would have to admit that, so far this month has been an interesting one. Though I would have to disagree with the fact that, the claim that you might have learned something. Because people like you are petty. And to an extent, if people have a different opinion or criticize you, it seems like you can't handle that. So you'll go above and beyond to try to discredit the individuals that have called you out.
I've learned quite a few things. For example, I've learned if you wake up on a Thursday afternoon, just, roll out of bed after using a bunch of slurs on Twitter, you can just hop online and apologize and everything goes away.
Bullshit! Yeah, forgive me for the over-dramatic clip, but to an extent, yeah, that is, if you believe that, then you are just incredibly ignorant. Considering the fact that anybody would use a racial slur, even by accident, would immediately be called out and, to an extent, be sent to be deplatformed. Because at that point, just because you said it once, would more than likely cause your whole entire social media, your channel, if you have a YouTube channel, your Twitch channel, if you have that, or anything or anywhere involving social media would be shut down. Because because of public opinion, unfortunately, you can't say those things. And to an extent, by the way, I think this is more of I have a feeling this is more towards the conversation of him being a racist, as well as being very, very delusional with some of his thought process.
Because you have a bright future ahead of you, or maybe you were a kid that is just having a bad day, and everybody's going to forgive you over it. Because that seems to be what these idiots that run their cancel crusade against me think.
Is it just me, or is this person trying to imply that, a lot of the people that have commented on his behavior like to use racial slurs, or any slur for that matter? If so, unless there's evidence, you're a fucking idiot.
Now, we have people trying to cancel Quantum TV. There's no secret. I've been dealing with it for years, right?
Well, I mean, to an extent, you should have already been canceled to begin with. And it's not just because, people want to cancel you. It's the fact that already you're ban evading, and which, by the way, is against the terms of service of YouTube. And due to you already being banned off of the platform, you are trying to create new channels so that way, you have a way to escape. But to an extent, people are fed up of your bullshit as well. So to an extent, it's not cancel culture, for that matter. It's the fact that at this point, you're a piece of shit that doesn't like to follow the rules.
Well, the most recent entry into this, the Actman, Griffin Gaming, Review Tech USA, and their little buddies and their friends, right? Okay.
Hello.
But here's the thing with these YouTubers. They are on camera saying things like, everyone uses slurs, it's the bundle of sticks word.
This guy is fucking stupid!
So, here's something I'm going to say. Looking at, particular channels so far, when it comes down to it, it's very interesting because I feel like this is an attack, or at least a way to try to again, kind of degrade the character of the Act Man, Review Tech USA, and many others, because to a very, very large degree, they've called out Quantum TV for being homophobic, as well as kind of being a racist. And to an extent, I guess with this particular video, he's really, really trying so hard to imply, by the way, with no evidence within the video. I had to censor the video because, pieces of shit like him want to copyright claim or falsely copyright claim people's videos. But to an extent, when it comes down to it, this individual, but imply that creators that have talked about him thus far have used racial slurs or slurs involving, or actually, let's be blunt, negative slurs on the daily. Now, I don't think I should mention the fact, or I shouldn't have to mention the fact, that without actual proof, this would be considered defamation. And if any of these people wanted to take you to court, they probably could. Especially with this particular video of, you basically, telling, or, trying to tell people that, hey, these people say racial slurs, which more than likely would bring hate towards these people. Because one person is, spouting hearsay to begin with. Which, by the way, we were talking about facts and rumors in the last video. What you're talking about actually isn't even a rumor. It's a lie. Which, it's funny because you claim yourself to be the most honest, or, one of the honest brands on YouTube, or some bullshit on that with your channel banner.
Griffin Gaming said that, won't apologize or turn himself in for his behavior there, right? Then you've got people like Review Tech USA who stole $200 from Big Cheese.
So, it's interesting about this particular video because, at least, the original video, I should say, for Quantum TV, because to an extent, it's just him talking, him rambling, and it just has one single image. That, of course, the image saying just Q TV podcast. And, by the way, in the description, especially when it comes down to, allegations that are false, and at this point, again, would be classified as defamation without actual proof, is interesting to deal with. Because at this point, especially with this particular video, as well as, looking at his description to show any references of some of the things he's talking about, it's it's very interesting. So I went ahead and looked up what he was talking about, with one thing in particular, that of course being Review Tech USA stealing $200. Now, looking at YouTube, I even typed in basically Review Tech stole money or stole $200. And the only things that pop up, at least the first three things, are literally parody videos. So, parody videos, and I'm assuming this is referring to a joke that he might have said in one of his piece of content. So let me get this straight. If you heard this from one of your fans about Review Tech stealing $200, and you just automatically went with this, then you're a fucking idiot. Because to an extent, unless you actually gave proof, just typing in, Review Tech stole $200, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it makes you seem very laughable to an extent, especially when you try to claim, oh, this person did this bad thing, so all of a sudden, I'm in the clear. No, you piece of shit. It just goes to show how fraudulent you are. And in fact, if anything, I couldn't understand why people would actually follow your content when it comes to your TV reviews, considering, again, you're very much showing how much of an opposite individual you are compared to what you claim yourself to be. That, of course, being supposedly honest, truthful. So let's continue, because I'm honestly at this point I'm gonna probably have a really fun time doing this, debunking your lazy and honestly defamatory comments on people just because they gave you criticism. You spineless piece of shit.
You've got instances where he endorsed a guy and said, I'm a fan of Vosh, you deal with it. And then you go look at the things Vosh has said, like he thinks child pornography should be legal.
Okay, that's a little bit of a weird one. And especially when you don't even give most of the context of the conversation. What that whole situation was, and I'll do my best to leave links with a lot of the things that are being said. I looked up what this particular case was, and yes, there is a tweet where Review Tech USA mentions the fact that he is a fan of Vosh. Now, there is a moment where apparently on stream, Vosh does talk about that particular, I hate to use the word content, but so I'm not getting in trouble with YouTube or anything, mentioning the exact thing. To an extent, he was kind of mentioning the degrees, or at least the age degrees. Is that any better? No, but I figured, at this point, because again, this individual doesn't want to give context, might as well do it. I think at this point, especially with a situation like that, each person who watches this video can take it as they will when it comes down to whether that's okay or not. Though I'm sure a lot of people will agree that, to an extent, even having that kind of conversation is kind of sending off a red flag. But regardless, and by the way, I'm not trying to defend any stupid actions. I'm just kind of giving more context because this guy clearly will not.
Because it's more ethically consistent with the child slave labor that we have.
In situations like this, it's, made very clear that, especially where, again, the original video is literally just a image and him just rambling. It's best that you actually gave evidence to what you were talking about. Now, if you were talking about, again, just giving context, in, let's say, third world countries or certain countries where, they use child labor, then okay, I can understand that. But in the U.S., unless there's somewhere that I'm not thinking about, unless you count pageants, in which case I would agree with you, to an extent, there's no slave labor that forces kids to work in the U.S. Again, if somebody wants to add any context, or at least show anything, I would appreciate it. And if anything, I will redact what I said. But to a degree, context is very, very needed in situations, or at least just even discussing a topic, which unfortunately you provide none.
It's mind-blowing, but he's a fan and we should just deal with that, little things like that, that make it just weird. And then of course they cross the line and they say slurs on camera.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Literally during a live stream, and then follow it up with threatening to fight people.
Here's the issue right now, because it's look, my perspective is he's trying to make the argument that a lot of the content creators, whether it be on whether it be on camera or on stream or on video, can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and get away with it. Mostly, I think this is in retaliation to, again, what people have mentioned when it comes to his behavior. But that's not really the case, because if for a lot of them who have a conscience, who have a moral high ground to an extent, or a sense of morality, I should say, that you lack, by the way. If they do something stupid, they do apologize about it. At least for a lot of them. Because to an extent, a lot of people recognize that certain actions are wrong. Does it slip? Yes. Should we completely deplatform them for it? No. But to an extent, there's a difference from somebody making a mistake and then changing themselves to an individual who continuously makes those mistakes and thinks that they can continuously get away with it. Which, spoilers, is exactly what you do and have been, discovered to do. By the way, weren't you the one who was literally calling Black Panther a terrible movie and claiming that only angry black men would enjoy it? Huh. Really weird. It's almost like it seems like, saying things like that it implies that you're a racist. What about, telling two women who were in a church scene basically replicating the dinner / party moment in Last of Us Part 2, telling these people that they needed to, they should have been victims of Pulse. I'm sorry, I mean, that makes you look kind of like a homophobe now, doesn't it? Especially when you kind of double down on that. And I know you want to try to make the excuse that, oh, my accounts were hacked, but it begs the question, how all of a sudden, if your accounts were hacked, and if for whatever reason, this hacker wanted to discredit you, then why all of a sudden were your particular tweets, your particular posts, everything that was hateful being deleted the exact same time that Review Tech USA was doing a live stream on you? Quite curious.
But then, of course, don't look into that. I apologize, damn it. Let it go. I owned it.
Yeah, they apologized. Unlike you, who, again, doubled down on some of the things that you were saying, which made people more and more kind of suspicious of the fact that you were a racist homophobe. Actually, to save myself, a alleged racist homophobe.
It goes away, right? That typical, I have a bright future mentality. I'm a good kid on the junior varsity team. Don't arrest me kind of mentality, right? No line is too far to cross. Enter the act man. A whole bunch of shit he says on Twitter. I can't post any of it.
Where is the proof?
That's how bad it is, right? Gets on camera, owns the shit. Don't mention it though, because if you mention it, those are old tweets. Bro, these fuckers literally use the old tweet excuse after owning their shit. And wants everybody to say, well, at least he apologized. At least he owned it. Unlike you. Unlike me, bro.
Yeah, unlike you. Which, by the way, again, proof. We need proof of some of the things you're claiming, because to an extent, I don't think I've ever seen any controversy of the Act Man involving, or have been involved in saying anything racial or homophobic. That, of course, also being towards Review Tech USA and many others. Unless, again, context, because at this point, especially when you are talking about people, and at this point a lot of the things you're saying could possibly be defamation, it is if within your benefit to give context. Otherwise, if any of these people wanted to spend the money for a lawyer, as well as, collecting all evidence that they can to basically, take you to court, I'm sure they could look at this, and if there is evidence to the contrary of what you're saying here, they would probably pull every penny out of you for saying stupid shit.
Are you deaf, my guys? Are you hard of hearing? I will say this for all the people in the back who are struggling to hear me, okay? I'll say this for the people in the rafters. In 2018, I had a massive compromise of all of my social media accounts. My PlayStation and Xbox even got hacked. Nothing was safe.
So, here's the reason why a lot of people don't believe this, oh, my shit got hacked bullshit. So, you mentioned a date, 2018. It's 2022. And if that was the case where your stuff was hacked, then, spoiler alert, you left a lot of that stuff on your social media. So, it begs the question, if this entire time you had or got back your stuff, then why did you leave it on your platform? If anything, why didn't you just, delete and remake a new social media account? Here's my take on this whole situation, especially with that excuse. I believe, him claiming that it was a hacker is false. I think if anything, it's him trying to come up with an excuse of why he said the things he said, and to an extent, trying not to, make it seem like, oh, I did these things, when in reality, he did.
That means that main accounts like my YouTube account were hacked in 2018.
And again, that was 2018. This is 2022. So, again, I'm not buying it. This whole hacker bullshit.
Now, I was unfortunate enough because the person that hacked me wanted to impersonate and say things as me to make me look bad. That was the purpose of that hack. And he had a ball. I would say he had a ball for a good I don't even know how many months it was. He went on just tearing everything apart. It took years to get over that. You guys wouldn't know that because you just found out about me, right? You don't know the history of the shit I've been dealing with.
Well, let's face it. I mean, when it comes down to it, and thanks to, creators like Review Tech USA, the one you're kind of slamming on to an extent near the beginning of this video, he went down the rabbit hole. Him and Ackman, but to an extent, a lot of it was Review Tech. And not only were you already you already had a second account, and to an extent are ban evading because you were banned for, if I recall, I think it was, what was it? Oh yeah, hateful speech. So, and then going further than that is all the comments, though you claim them to be from a hacker. It kind of begs the question, I think, and you guys already know the answer, is this whole hacker story true? And if you guessed, my immediate response would be no, it's not true, and doesn't seem like it, considering, again, behavior, or past behaviors, that have been displayed for all of the internet to see. Yeah, he's a liar. He's a liar. Which, by the way, first chance you get, you might as well go ahead and change the banner on your YouTube channel to being the worst brand.
Oh shit! Burn! Burn!
Now, why would somebody hate you? You're a nobody, Quantum. That's the argument that I immediately get. But we're forgetting that I don't have 65,000 subscribers for no reason. I actually have a following. But my following is because I attacked people like Vincent Teo, and I've attacked the AVS Forum because of their dedication to the old ways of the 30-year-old industry standards that don't work. And I've been a truther for every single television I've ever reviewed, showing every single flaw without sponsors or without selling out and just telling you everything is awesome, right?
Well, being a liar is probably more accurate, and to an extent, it's already been proven that several other YouTubers, or TV reviewers I should say, have looked at your content and have basically kind of called you out, with proof, by the way, of some of the things you've said in your videos, and to an extent have considered you to be fraudulent. Even, creators like Angry Joe, who review, video games, reviews, which actually it's kind of funny that we talk about that because, you tried to review a game, Elder Ring, and that did not go well. But to an extent, this is an individual like Angry Joe who reviews technology, reviews gaming as well as movies. So to an extent, he would have kind of a good understanding of how things work when it comes down to, you know, appliances and stuff, or at least, you know, televisions and so on. So to an extent, this whole thing of you being a truther is questionable at best.
And so people who appreciate the truth love what I do. And they've named this channel the #1 brand in honesty. That's not a self-given name, right? But you wouldn't know any of that because you're not following the channel. And I love how people go, well, then why didn't you delete the tweets? Yes, because as I'm falling ill from injuries, from degenerative nerve damage, right? You wouldn't know anything about that chapter in Quantum TV. You weren't watching along those lines, right? You weren't there for that saga. My OG guys, those people who've been with me day one, you guys know about that. You know how I've been struggling to get good on camera to rehabilitate my physical being, right? I've went to rehab. At one point, we were looking into surgery options. We were doing everything we could so that I could be normal again, right? You guys wouldn't know anything about that history shared on Quantum TV because you don't do research. You don't care.
Well, you know, it would have been great if you would have, I don't know, instead of just making a video where it was just an image and you're rambling, it would have been nice to maybe, you know, seeing a screenshot or something of that, of that nature, to basically see if you were telling the truth. Otherwise, you know, looking at this, and as well as, you know, trying to do some research on my own, I'm gonna have to classify you as a lying piece of shit. If somebody has heard of this before and, again, knows exactly what he's talking about, leave in the comment down below the link to this particular, or at least when this particular instance is mentioned. Because at this point, I kind of feel like that this is kind of trying to push the narrative to an extent, where it seems like, oh, the Act Man and Review Tech USA are the bad guys. At least that's been the general vibe of this video thus far. And it's not working with me, by the way.
All you care about is you saw something from a hacked tweet from 2018, and oh boy, this motherfucker's guilty. Oh, he's lying. Look at him trying to cover his tracks.
Well, considering you're ban evading, I could, you know, a lot of people would see it as, you know, trying to cover your tracks. Or trying to, I guess, to an extent, remove yourself from the controversy as best you can.
Bitch, nobody's afraid of you. And nobody's afraid of anything you think you know about me. Don't you think in the last, God knows how many years I've been on YouTube, go ahead, look it up, whatever, okay? That if what you're saying is true, I wouldn't be here all these years later from the published date of Quantum TV. I mean, come on, man.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. To the extent, you've already, I mean, when it comes to some of the things you've said, you've already done it before. And that cost you a channel. And for whatever reason, you thought that, you know, it was okay to try to avoid that ban by creating a new channel, creating a new account. So, to an extent, you've already said some of these things. It's already been proven that you've said some of these things. And in all honesty, at this point, it just seems kind of pathetic that you're trying to make this whole claim that, oh, hackers did it, after the fact that, you know, right after the fact, Review Tech USA called you out.
You're talking about a channel who's done nothing but review products is magically going to come up with these kinds of values out of the blue and say this outlandish, wild shit? Here's the reality.
Oh, this ought to be good.
I leave no secret or nothing to the imagination when I talk about myself, right? So one of the things you can easily deduce, I am a guy that is very much in love with my wife. I don't mind telling people I love my wife. I love being married. And I don't mind telling people that, hey, I'm a Christian man. I love my faith. Because I do that, people use that and twist that into the most terrible things, and they attack me because of my religion.
Proof, please. By the way, to an extent, the only reason people are kind of calling you out is, again, proven evidence, or at least shown evidence of some of your behavior. So it's not like it's out of the blue where people are attacking you. There is a clear reason why people are, actually, attack is probably not the best word. If anything, kind of calling you out.
I'm labeled a right-winger. I'm labeled all kinds of other things. I've heard all kinds of disgusting, horrible things. Now, I love how, like, we go from that, and all of my history that you guys don't know, to then, oh boy, Quantum TV is really just this shitty person. Let's try to gang up on him. And then people come to me, they send me all kinds of personal information on you. 90% of it I have no interest in. You know, I know about all of your family members at this point. I don't care to know that.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit. I'm sure if anything, first chance you got, you probably would have used that information. But I have a feeling you're not going to. Who am I kidding? I feel like you are. To an extent, because if you did know that information, you'd probably use it. Because, let's face it, you don't have any, morals when it comes down to, falsely accusing people of stealing content from you. Or creating false copyright claims and strikes. And to a greater degree, you gotta love this false sense of moral high ground. Because to an extent, he's trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm the better guy. When in reality, you didn't have any qualms to do some of the things you did. None whatsoever. So, forgive me for the lack of faith in what you're saying. But evidence speaks louder than the words that come out of your mouth.
I know so much. It's overwhelming, the kind of stuff people will send on you because you're being a hypocrite at this point, and they know it. Because, all of those skeletons in your closet that you don't want people poking at, you don't want to relive those controversies that you finally got over. People finally let that apology you gave just blow it over, right? Nobody cares anymore, right? Here's the thing, though. You want to come out and you want to have these bold opinions as if you yourself haven't gone through people being nasty on the internet.
Well, with you being public figure, it should be, kind of expected at this point. Which, by the way, and this is coming from somebody like myself who is a small content creator, but to a degree, I do my very best not to give a shit. And I think, honestly, this is one of those things that a lot of very, very large content creators don't seem to understand. Is if people say something, or if anything, they see that you did something, and because at this point, you're only giving in to people by overreacting, by acting in a very negative way. And honestly, at this point, especially with everything that's going on, you did, a couple things, or not a couple, you did quite a few things that were not great and should be called out for it. But to an extent, your overreaction is humorous, and a lot of people are going to talk about it. Especially when, again, you've gone out of your way to tell people to go, off themselves because you didn't like what they had to say about you. Boo-hoo. People are mad because, I did a terrible take on the Elden Ring game. Boo-fucky-hoo. If you can't handle criticism, if you can't handle, public opinion, then honestly, you should just get off the internet. If you can't handle people, kind of drudging up your own history, because at this point, it's made apparent how much of a shitty person you are, you're better off just, cutting your losses and shutting everything down and removing yourself. But that's just me.
And on these live streams, you've seen through Mischief, I've shown that off in a video, okay? Where Mischief says, why would anybody want to impersonate him? Because it's fucking funny. Those are his words. You know it's happening. So don't say it's not an impersonation. When somebody hacks my shit, impersonates me through my main channel, acting like me, and I'm locked out, I literally can't. Bro, that shit happened on Facebook. I was freaking the fuck out, man. I was like, how the fuck do I even get it? How did they even get into my shit? I was calling around everywhere I could. I'm fucking calling the police. I'm fucking trying to figure everything out. You have no idea how scary that shit was, right? Because you're not living an original life through me. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's like, I can go through all of this hardship, and I can have all this shit happen, and you guys think I need to apologize because it happened to me.
So, is he trying to imply that because we've heard this story before from another YouTuber, that because we aren't him, because we, in his eyes, we don't know the full story, what he depicts as the full story, we can't talk about it? I mean, with that statement, that's kind of how I feel like what he's trying to say, which is utter bullshit, by the way. People are allowed to talk about you, regardless if they have your consent or not. And especially with you being a public figure, especially with you putting yourself out there, and to an extent kind of leaving a blueprint of your behaviors on the internet. And I'm saying behaviors, and I'm counting the stuff, the racial and homophobic shit that has been brought up time and time again by, content creators like Review Tech USA and so on. But to an extent, to that degree, because of your own behaviors, people can kind of get a sense of who you are and what you're willing to do. And again, you falsely copywriting people's videos kind of says a lot about you. It says a lot about anybody that would be willing to abuse copyright for personal gain, as well as to stipend thought or speech, for that matter.
Let me say, hold on. You didn't hear that. Let me say that again. You think I need to apologize because somebody hacked me, and I need to apologize for the things they did as me, and more correctly, find everything they posted under my name when I was hacked in 2018.
Well, let me put it this way. If I found out that I was ever hacked in any of my accounts, my first response would be literally to look through the entire thing and seeing what was posted. And to an extent, if it's negative, or if anything that doesn't represent me, then yeah, I would have deleted it. I wouldn't have waited till 2022 to all of a sudden, realize, oh shit, I said these things. And by the way, I'm making the point that at this point, when it comes down to this hacker story, again, I'm calling bullshit. And for a lot of people, a lot of others are not buying it either.
Here's what I challenge all of you to do. Find something recent. Find it. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Find anything from 2020, I would even say, onward. Find the most recent shit. Find it a day ago. Find me saying some shit that's just hateful and horrible and ignorant.
You literally told people to kill themselves because they did not like your review of Elden Ring.
Now, I know what you guys are going to try to do. You're going to try to twist those words in that old Batman review that I did, right? Which I deleted because you guys kept taking it out of context. Here's the reality. When I pointed out Zoe Kravitz's biracial makeup and said that she was a half-breed herself, I'm drawing the parallel that she's half black and half white and shouldn't be using white privilege to attack white people.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You could have gone further into that, but you didn't. You just flat out said that she was a half-breed, which, in context, a lot of people will see that as being racist. And a lot of people, consider that as a racial slur. So to an extent, this whole example, which by the way does not help your case in any situation, just makes you look even worse. Honestly, and you know what? Going further, especially with his videos, because let's face it, a lot of them aren't very long, and to a degree, you just kind of saying what you want to say doesn't help you, and in a lot of these cases, it just shows, again, what kind of person you are.
I was defending against racism, which was the whole reason I brought it up, and in that review, none of you play that part where I said that's an unnecessary comment.
Oh god, I hate going into this. So, when it comes to politics, I do my best, like my very, very, very best to be neutral. Because at this point, let's face it, both sides in the U.S. political system, both sides, Democrats, Republicans, have their own shitheads. And unfortunately, those particular individuals make each side look bad. So to an extent, I try to stay neutral. especially when it comes to, politics. But here's my thought process: is you're claiming that you want to, stop racism, or this whole situation of race, but it's kind of ironic, or if anything, kind of hypocritical, that you're trying to stop racism by using racism, if that makes any sense. I mean, that statement you made is just so fucking stupid. In fact, I want to bring this up because, to an extent, and at this point, especially with movie reviews, I'm going to give an example. You mentioned Black Panther at one point, and if I'm remembering your words correctly, because to an extent, your videos aren't very long, but you mentioned the fact that this was, a movie for angry black men. I saw the movie Black Panther, and honestly, creating the cultural aesthetic of it, I love it. And by the way, this is an individual who, me personally, being an individual who enjoys and wants to research different cultures. And the culture or the region that they created for Wakanda in that particular film looked amazing. It was interesting. Some of the characters were also interesting. The idea of the tribes, the different tribes, also very interesting. Some of the combat, good. Some of the characters, again, good. Is it my favorite film? No, but I did have some things that I liked about it. But I'm not going to completely hate it. And I'm not going to find excuses to hate it. And I think people are getting at what I'm trying to say. Is, to an extent, for an individual like yourself, Quantum TV, it seems like with a lot of your reviews, or at least a few that have been given a lot of controversy, it seems like you're just trying to find ways to hate it. Is it just me, or does it seem like it's a continuous trend where there's a popular thing, but you do your best to find a reason to hate it? Now, I can't say much about the Batman movie yet because, honestly, I'm waiting for it to come out on Vudu. Because honestly, if I go to the theater, I more likely will spend quite a bit of money on my ticket, any snacks that I want, and so on. Or if I end up going with somebody, that other ticket. And honestly, with, communities, I'd rather just watch it at home anyways. But regardless, I saw the trailers, and all I have to say is, especially when it comes down to, movies itself, because it's been a trend, or at least something that has been noticeably, something that's been noticeable, I should say, that when it comes to certain roles, yes, they do change races for a few characters. Selena Kyle is not the first character where they've done this. But my biggest concern is not whether or not they're black or white, but rather, do they play the character well? Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury in The Avengers, he did an excellent job with that. Idris Elba playing the Dark Tower, I'm going to say I don't want to blame him completely. I think if anything, that's more of the writing. Selena Kyle, I'll have to see, because to an extent, all that matters is if they represent the character well. Not the fact that whether or not they're white or black, but rather if they do a good job with their representation of the character. Which honestly is what matters the most. Not the fact that, because at this point, this is something that I've come to expect when it comes down to it. As long as, again, they represent the core character, the character that they are playing as in a very, very interesting way. Or, I guess, if anything, giving their own spin to the character that honestly kind of adds or does something different. That's also good. But I'm rambling about movies. But all in all, and by the way, it just goes to show, especially when it comes down, like, if you saw my video, between the two of us, is when it comes to movies, a lot of my shit I know about. And I actually take the time to actually watch the movies that I discuss. Wink, wink. Unlike you, however.
The movie would have been just fine without it, and nobody would have said a thing. You guys leave convenient shit out to make me look bad on purpose.
You know, you like to blame us, but to an extent, when you say stupid shit, you should expect repercussions for it. And regardless of when it comes down to, you know, it would have been better without it, like, you know, cut the crap. Here's the bottom line. And as I said before, regardless of whether or not they change the race of a particular character, as long as they portray the character well or do something different that is interesting, honestly, at that point, it doesn't matter. Now, granted, when it comes down to it, again, there are those bad situations where when it comes down to it, it doesn't make any sense, especially with it being a source character. But to an extent, especially with someone like me who, you know, on and off reviews movies, which, by the way, plug. At this point, it's come to be, you know, expected when it comes to situations like that. But again, as long as the character is portrayed well. Because at this point, and I know some people will hate me for saying this, it doesn't matter what the race or the sexual preference of the character is, or the representation. What matters is if the character is good. That's all that matters. And their race, their gender, or the representation should not be the main factor that people should focus on. And that's it.
To try to say, see, these are his recent bigoted ideas. I'm not a bigot. I'm in an interracial marriage. I love literally every single race on this fucking planet. I love every single race, bro. On God.
Certain people would have to disagree, especially after your quote-unquote Black Panther review. And a variety of other situations where you've said very scandalous shit towards people.
When I'm doing live streams, I don't care what your sexual orientation or your religion is or any of that stuff. I help every family because I understand families deserve the best for their dollars. We're killing ourselves to get every little thing we have. And finally, we finally work ourselves damn near to the grave to finally get a little bit of time off, and we want to watch TV with our families, and I'm really good at knowing how to help you guys as a professional.
You serious?
And so that's the service I offer people. And you guys are now trying to twist even my hope for pause fucking movement that I've been doing from so many years ago, where I'm literally on every video, I make everything a fundraiser to just give the little guy a fucking chance. You are the same people probably running over those turtles and those poor raccoons and possums on the side of the road for sport, okay? As people like me jump out of the car and rescue fucking animals.
Bullshit, you're speaking some bullshit, you're speaking some bullshit, shut the fuck up.
Put them in the back seat and let them loose, you know, so they get out of harm's way. There's a very different nature of human being we are. You're the type that sits on Call of Duty and Halo calling people the N-word all day. I'm the kind of person that tells you to stop stealing content because you didn't make it and you don't have the right to just take people's shit, re-upload it as you see fit, and that's what you're mad about.
I love how it sounds like he's trying to lump all gamers together, like we all do this, that, oh, we all say the N-word, which, you know, by the way, that's kind of a bad narrative to try to make. But also, to the extent, once again, people using your video for commentary is not stealing it, you dumb fuck. It's not. It is within the copyright law that allows us to, you know, take your video, break it down, and respond to it, and therefore making it a transformed work. In fact, making any changes to it, regardless, is also transformative. Like, for instance, me, you know, transferring the audio of your particular video, because, let's face it, all it is basically a foreground image of, you know, your quote-unquote podcast and you rambling. Whereas for, you know, me, I took your audio and basically created a fun little dunce image of your profile picture on a character with a dunce hat with a fog effect behind you, and behind that is an image of a nuclear warhead going off. Because, let's face it, that is literally what's going to happen when, everything goes to shit with your channel. Especially with, people calling out the fact that you are ban evading.
You're mad that your hand was in the cookie jar, I slapped your shit, and you said, you know what, how dare you, you're an abuser.
And this is coming from the piece of shit that harassed a kid. Yeah, good job. Good job, abuser. Eat shit.
I love that you all try to claim that you've been copyright stricken in some aspect and I'm copyright abusing you, but having a concern and filing a copyright claim is not against the law. Striking a video knowing that what you are doing is fair use, when frankly, I do think it's funny you all take the moral high ground on that, by the way. You can't possibly think that when YouTube tells you don't download anyone's video, don't like re-upload people's video, like don't do that kind of thing, and you're circumventing YouTube's tools. They give you YouTube Premium. You can download and save videos there, but you can't re-upload them for a reason, right?
So, if you were to pull your head out of your ass, like literally pull it out of your ass, and listen to other people when it comes down to the topic at hand, you could understand that there's a difference between, completely taking your video and re-uploading it with no changes whatsoever, to people literally giving commentary, giving their responses to your videos, and going forward from there. Because at that point, one is actually illegal, taking the full video with no changes whatsoever, and literally re-uploading it, to an individual taking the video and giving a response, creating a new video out of the old video. Which, by the way, it's funny you want to talk about stealing content, when in reality, especially if you're quote-unquote, let's say, your image, one of your images, or at least for the video itself, you use a stock photo of a crown. So basically, in that concept, you're literally stealing content from another individual who either made, drew, or took a picture of a crown. So, what do you have to say about that? It's always, honestly, it's very humorous at this point, especially when people want to claim or cry copyright abuse and try to, at this point, justify their wrongdoing by falsely copyright claiming a person's video, but in reality don't even recognize the hypocritical notions that they accuse other people of. Especially when it comes down to, some of the content literally ripping off of other people's content.
You circumvent that by using a third-party website and software. And then you re-upload somebody's video and you trash talk them and you harass them across a string of multiple videos and you dare call that fair use? Really?
Well, again, to an extent, if they take your video and literally make responses in between segments of your video, again, they can do that. It's transformative. Do you even know what transformative means? Like, are you so clueless that you wouldn't understand the copyright law? Well, clearly you don't, considering the fact that, again, you falsely copyright claimed a teenager, a kid, and to an extent is trying to justify your own wrongdoing. Because, oh my god, people criticized you. Just stop. Just stop.
Like, that's harassment at that point. And then, when you get called out for harassing people, you send all your friends on Xbox and all the people that do the similar nasty behavior that you do to go attack somebody. To go try to cancel somebody. Ooh, cancel culture. Very popular with you younger people these days, right? You like that? You like that kind of thing.
So, I'm not going to speak for other people, but me personally, I don't go for canceling people. I do, however, call out, when people do stupid shit. Because at this point, it's within my right, it's within my, my power, as well as many others, to basically call out stupid opinions, stupid decisions, etc. And especially when people are doing something that is clearly against the rules, then yeah, we're going to call it out. If people make a bad take or, make a bad review, then we're allowed to say something about it. When people do horrible things to others and post it on the internet, we are allowed to talk about it. We're allowed to give our opinions. that's one of the beauties of YouTube. I mean, granted, to an extent, it seems that particular like idea of people having the freedom of freedom of speech, for that matter, has been stifled or kind of stomped out, considering the fact that certain ideals or certain issues come up into discussing topics or discussing commentary or discussing creators in general, because to an extent an individual that you speak of could immediately just look at your video and go, oh no, they're harassing me, when in reality it's not harassment. Sure, some of us talk shit, or to an extent, in between kind of giving our points, are crude for that matter, but at the very least we make our points. And that's what a lot of people, including yourself, hate, is that more than likely our critiques are actually good. And a lot of people will look at these critiques and be like, that guy's actually right. Especially when it comes down to the unfairness of how certain creators are treated and are bullied and silenced because certain people don't like what they have to say. And some of us honestly look at that and get fucking fed up with it. So you can act like the victim all you want, but that's not going to help you. You know what you did wrong, and you can try to deny it all you want. You can try to blame everybody else all you want, but that still doesn't change the fact, especially with evidence presented. You did some shit, and now you're being called out for it.
And then it makes its way over into some of the older people, like Rich from Review Tech USA. Nobody's safe from cancel culture, right? But here's the thing. When you want to cancel somebody, typically the idea is they need to have A, done something wrong, and B, you better be squeaky fucking clean, because when people look at you and your old tweets and what you've said, I mean, I'm pretty sure you don't want them figuring out that you've said worse. I mean, the Act Man literally uses the N-word, just drops the N-bomb, like it's nothing.
So, this goes back to me kind of like calling it out for being kind of idiotic to only have one image and you just rambling and saying shit that at this point again and again would be considered defamatory. And if the powers that be decided to literally take you to court, they probably pull every fucking cent out of you for saying some of the things you said. So with that particular comment, I went ahead and looked up any point, and if, again, as I've been saying repeatedly in this video, if there is an instance where this has happened, leave in the comments or leave a link or anything and let me know, because I did a quick Google search, Act Man saying the N-word or saying any slurs. Nothing comes up. So, and I think this is the MO for this individual, the Quantum TV. He thinks that, I have a feeling that he believes that people are stupid, and that anybody's gonna believe everything he fucking says. But the smart people are actually going to do the research and look to see if this is actually true, that some of the things he's saying is actually true. And lo and behold, again, if something comes up, you can let me know. But I did a quick Google search, like literally typing in Actman saying the N-word, and nothing came up of any discussion about it. And here's the funny thing, because if this was the case of Actman continuously using the N-word, he more likely would have already been kind of shut down or called out for it, or there had been some controversy. That's the bottom line. For a good example is what happened with PewDiePie. PewDiePie being one of the largest YouTubers on planet Earth, in a moment of frustration, accidentally used the N-word. And I know some people disagree and, claim, oh no, he's a racist. Shut up. Just stop. I hate to be an ass about that. Well, I'm already being an ass. But, and that's a kind of an oxymoron on my part, but to an extent, it was a moment of frustration. And at this point, he apologized for it, and that's enough. He said he was sorry. He does his best not to do it again. But I mentioned PewDiePie because, again, it's a good example. He said the N-word once, and then he got freaking journalists causing him shit. Creating hit pieces on PewDiePie. In a variety of other situations, or at least commentary creators, literally making content calling him out for saying the N-word, wanting him deplatformed. Now, if people like Actman or Review Tech USA did something like this, like said the N-word or any kind of slur, shit, just like that, they would immediately been shut down or called out, or there'd been some controversy. And I mention this because, to an extent, there would be something in the news about it, or something on Twitter, but there isn't, as far as I'm seeing. So when it comes down to some of these things, Mr. Quantum TV, Mr. Liar, Mr. I don't know what the fuck copyright is, but I'm going to claim I am because I'm a fucking ignorant piece of shit, you're wrong. And at this point, you're only talking out of your ass and trying to, create this narrative that all of these people that have talked about you are as bad as you, when in reality, they aren't.
He's over there talking about the most disgusting, oh my god, dude, like, why would you even say that, things on his freaking Twitter? I won't even go into half of it. It's disgusting. It's just disgusting, bro. Like,
so would you guys like me to give you the translation of that? That's basically him saying, I don't actually have evidence, and at this point, I'm digging myself a hole, and the hole is already too deep for me to get out, so I'm going to try my best to change the subject, and hopefully, I can get you guys on my side. Because, again, me, translating Quantum TV is talking out of his ass.
and these are the people that are trying to cancel me. The guy that every day spends his hard-earned money from his photography jobs, because I'm a professional photographer, I leave no secret about that, okay? And I'm spending my money buying thousands of dollars worth of TVs, trying to help people out and do what I do. And this concept now that you want to come here, you want to ratio out all of my videos for fun with your friends, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 dislikes. Can we reach 1 million? It's a game for you. But now let me ask you all, like, you hate me? Cool, great. Keep hating me, do what you do. But like, put that shit on the table for a second. And like, G shit, as a person, ask yourself this, like, for real. Honestly speaking, if you had so much of a problem with me, right, and I did something that was so offensive and so horrible to you, right, why wouldn't you just go to YouTube and say, this guy did that, and leave it alone?
Well, there's a couple things to mention with this particular thing. One, especially with YouTube being a large corporation, and it's the unfortunate thing, and it sucks about it sometimes, is that with it being a large corporation, everything, to an extent, a lot of things get missed. But here's the biggest thing. People have already gone to YouTube about you. With your previous channel, if I recall. And at this point, because, they banned you from the platform, you did your best to make a new platform, or new channel, new account. Which, in of itself, is ban evasion, which is against the rules. So, to an extent, and at this point, people... And if you actually watch the videos, you would understand this. Or actually, if you had an iota of, perspective or just an idea of how things are done, you would kind of understand or have an understanding that, to an extent, at this point, people don't want you canceled. But only to bring up your bad behavior. The only thing that people want, though, is the fact that, or at least the just justice to an extent, of you breaking the fucking rules, which is exactly what you did when you ban evaded, when you created a new channel after your old channel was taken down, as well as justice for you breaking the rules and creating false copyright claims when a video was clearly fair use. So, at this point, it's not about people trying to cancel you. Oh, no. And at this point, especially in situations like this and saying stupid shit like you are now, you end up becoming your worst enemy. That's the bottom line. I mean, you can blame us all you want, but to a very great degree, you going out of your way to say really stupid shit, saying things that, one, aren't logical, and two, that aren't factual, will inevitably get you into more trouble. You doing a variety of other stupid things, which there's one in particular that came up recently, and at least as this video is uploaded or released, that is kind of interesting, and to an extent is very serious. But again, we'll get to it in a second. But all in all, you have caused this. Like, your thought process of people trying to cancel you, it is your own actions that have caused everything to happen. For people to talk about you, for people to call you out. You did this. And some will claim that it started with the Elden Ring video, which to an extent, that's what became that honestly is what made you more prominent now, because of your bad takes and at this point your bad judgment. But at this point, looking into your past, a lot of people want you basically to take responsibility and act like a fucking adult and honestly take the punishment that was given to you, and having you removed as you were supposed to originally.
Because you know they'll take care of it, right? That's what the platform's for, right? No. The reality is you're not getting the result you want. Your claims that are unsubstantiated as fuck, shared from person to person to person, run with as fact, is little more than a misunderstanding after misunderstanding because you're not coming to the source.
Oh my god, I've heard this one before. So, can I let you in on a little secret? I doubt you'll probably watch my video. I'm sure you'll probably think, oh, this guy's a small fry. I'm not going to, consider looking at his content. But here's the bottom line. We've heard this before. A variety of other commentators have heard this little line before. Let's go to the source. Wait, I'm sorry. Does that mean you? I'm sorry. No. Because usually when it comes to somebody who is, a part of a controversy, inevitably fucking lies. Why do they lie? Because they want to keep their own representation up. That's the gist. So, and by the way, the hearsay that you're claiming that people are spreading is literally the evidence that has been brought from your channel and has been brought from, your previous channel and your social media. Which, spoiler alert, as it was brought up, a lot of the things that you said in past social media posts, you literally scrambled to just destroy everything when Review Tech USA went over it. So get over yourself.
And when you do come to me, you come with an attitude. And that's the part that you don't understand. What you're asking for is discretionary. You're asking me to explain the history of my channel, the history of my life on YouTube, my personal matters, the issues and harm that you guys have caused in real life from your actions of your videos. And that's something I have to be willing to give you because I'm not required to do any of this. This whole podcast is a courtesy, right? Of course, it'll be chopped up, taken out of context. Little clown faces will pop up. This guy's a smooth brain, so deluded. You guys can continue to be as hateful and as nasty as you want. I've done nothing to any of you.
Oh, keep lying to yourself.
I don't know any of you from Adam. And frankly, I don't have any interest to know you. You're strangers on the internet. You should really just focus on yourselves and let everybody make the kind of content they want to make. But the reality is you want to harass people. Like, who cares? People don't like Elden Ring. It's going to happen, right? For every positive review, there's going to be somebody that's not going to like something. Happens on every single fucking, channel there is. But magically, you want to be like, this is a shit take. I'm going to teach them a lesson for it. I really have no interest in Elden Ring. And I was so chill about it at the end of it. Once I saw the level of severity you took you really identified with this game. I deleted those reviews to move on, let you enjoy your game. I removed the bad take that you didn't like so much to give you it. Just, hey, enjoy your game, right? Move on. You, a month and a half later, are still reusing the same deleted video clips that you've shared across your friends. And I can't help at this point to think that this is a mental obsession that you can't let go until you get the result that you want, which is cancellation.
So regardless of people using your clips, again, as long as it's, within a video that's like commentary or something like that, it is within, law. it's within their right to use it. When it comes down to harassment, that's on you. When it comes to cancellation, nobody wants you canceled, but however, people want you to inevitably take responsibility and honestly, accept the punishment that was already given to you when it comes down to your ban in the first place. So, to an extent, it's in this whole situation, it's not our fault. It's literally not our fault. You wanted to be aggressive when people made videos on you. You wanted to try to false claim people's videos. You wanted to harass an individual who was a kid. All of that is literally you, not us. Don't get mad when people, immediately call you out for your bad behavior. Just because you have a ton of subscribers does not mean you can do whatever the fuck you want.
And the thing is, all of this because you're told not to rip somebody else's video down. You're told not to misbehave in the way that you do. I mean, is it really let's be real with each other. Is it really so hard for you guys to buy products and make actual products on games repetitively that you like? Is it really that challenging for you? Some of you guys have over 1 million subscribers. It can't be hard to review products, pick up a couple sponsors, be an actual YouTuber, right? Is it really that difficult to not steal from others and smack talk and smear their reputation for the sake of building your own? I mean, take a guy like Mischief. When he started out, before mentioning my name, the guy had 6,000 subscribers and was barely getting by, right? Magically, after this whole Quantum TV drama, he's used it time and time again, and he's well above where I am subscriber count, which is great for him, but it just goes to show, you guys use these, cancerous mob tactics to build each other up and to propagate this idea that what you're doing is somehow just or right. I mean, I understand, a lot of you guys have fun with this, but you guys understand that sometimes you cause real-world consequences by people that aren't maybe like you. Maybe you're just making fun of me.
You're a fucking idiot.
And I'm sure you'd probably bring those particular people in the matters that are, current or present. And I say this because recently, or in the same time frame that this video was uploaded, there was a particular situation where apparently the information, or I guess if anything, private information of the Act Man was doxed to Quantum TV. And Quantum, being the quote-unquote intelligent person that he is, decided to harass the Act Man's mom about this situation. On Twitter, or at least one of the posts on Twitter, Act Man responded, or at least made a tweet saying that, "I can confirm that Quantum TV is threatening me and my family with doxing and violence. Even reached out to my mother saying we wouldn't want families to get hurt or involved in this. I wish I was fucking joking. If we see you, Quantum, we shoot on sight." On the picture it says, and this is, I guess, text from the mom, "Try it, but not from anything he can connect with you. Be safe. He's a nut." Sometime after this, Quantum TV decides to reply to this particular tweet, with him basically saying, and reading the tweet, "At the Act Man, I reached out to your mother to convey the severity of real-world harm you have been causing through your social media actions." Yeah, right. "I in no way ever threatened your mother or family. I definitely never issued any veiled threats, but now you're calling for Act Bros to unite for Act Mother's honor." In quotes. "This has officially turned into criminal activity. This is a direct call for an uprising and threat of gun violence against me. I warned you. I even gave you a chance to stop. These death threats are not okay. I made no threats to appear at your house or your home, and given the last conversation I had with your mother, I figured you'd leave me alone. But there is yet another extremely manipulative post calling for unity as you threaten gun violence. I'll be sending this to the authorities. Threats will not be tolerated. Sometime after this, however, the Act Man ended up making another post, which is kind of hilarious, where he kind of comments on Quantum, saying, "Imagine being lectured on gun violence by a dude who was sad that only 49 people were killed in the Pulse nightclub shooting."
Damn!
So, a couple things I want to mention or talk about. First off, when it comes down to it, and I feel like the person who is like really in the wrong in this whole situation, and he may think of it differently, but here's the bottom line. To an extent, when it, like, with everything, by the way, Quantum TV, you contacting the Act Man's mom or contacting his family is a shit thing to do. And you know, receiving their information and using it to try to, and I doubt it was as civil as he tries to claim it out to be. But to an extent, him trying to claim that, oh, I was just trying to be civil, like, no, you more likely were trying to bully these people into having the Act Man be silent, which was stupid. Now, let's talk about the Act Man's comment on Twitter, or at least the last bit. Me personally, I kind of feel like he should have worded it a little bit differently. Like maybe perhaps saying that, you know, hey, there, if you don't come near my house, otherwise maybe there will be consequences, or we will call the authorities, or something like that. But he shouldn't have done that. Now, I will admit the jab that the Act Man made towards Quantum, because again, Quantum doesn't like, you know, people who are of a different representation, or if anything, you know, to an extent, and especially when it comes to the tweets that, or social media posts that Quantum has made, he presents himself as kind of being homophobic. But to a degree, I mean, regardless, all this stems from Quantum, and he can, you know, try to call the authorities, but in reality, you contacted the Act Man's family, which you shouldn't have done. And I think deep down, I don't know if, like, deep down you would actually recognize that as being wrong, but to an extent, that was not okay to do. You shouldn't have gone after his family. And you try to claim that, oh, families are going to get involved in this. Well, you're already involving somebody's family. And it was on you that did that. You wanted to, you know, try to push this. So you can cut the crap, like, just the moral high ground bullshit. You're pissed that people are calling you out, so now you want to get back. That's literally what's happening right now.
But some people take it too far. They lead to hacking, they lead to real-world doxing, they lead to real-world consequences, vandalism against personal property, like vehicles and other things, which has fucking happened in real life. And when I come to you guys, like I came to Griffin Gaming during his Xbox rant, okay, because I've also had it real bad with Xbox gamers, and I tell you guys what you've done, you use private emails that I sent you, just trying to reach out and let you know the extent of what you've done and the kind of shit that you were stirring up. I tell you it, and then, oh boy, there it is. Oh, he's lying. Oh, he's lying. Here I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, thinking you had no idea that this was happening. And then you seem to be cool about it, and then it doesn't die down. You guys keep having your friends and your trolls and all that attack, and it gets more personal and more progressive. More things start happening. More police reports get filed. Here's the thing. If you're the kind of person that can hear that you've caused harm based off of your YouTube video, and you don't take it down, and you double down instead, and you say, you know what, it is what it is. I'm just going to post something to say, don't attack them. Everything that you guys say is virtually opposite day. You tell people not to attack me, that they're going to do it 10 times harder.
So, I can speak for myself as well as my community, and to an extent, and by the way, when it comes down to any harassment, you can't immediately blame the creator for creating content on you, and then all of a sudden you start getting flack because, lo and behold, you did shitty things. Now, granted, when it comes down to my videos, if you look at the description, which I have a really long one, you notice that in the description there's the disclaimer for every single one of my videos. And in the disclaimer, it reads that some of our content varies per video and may not be suitable for younger audiences. And I mentioned that we also mentioned that viewer discretion is advised. Also, in some content, we are critical of video games, books, music, videos, and other creators on the platform. And while we are a group-owned channel, our opinions expressed are solely our own and may not always affect or reflect the opinions of those associated with this channel. We at Novakast do not condone any and all harassment, e.g. cyberbullying, doxing, swatting, towards any of the people that we may be critical towards. And I stand by that. Sure, I'm cursing, I'm giving you shit, but to an extent, I say flat out, especially when it comes down to it, we do not approve of any kind of bullying. And I'm sure, like, to an extent, the Actman, Review Tech USA, and various other channels do not approve of any kind of bullying whatsoever. But, and to an extent, I hate it. It sucks when people do it, but it does not reflect us. Just because somebody listened to us and then decide, hey, I'm just going to go do this, that's not our fault. We should not have to take responsibility for some other people of what other people do. And unfortunately, we shouldn't have to. And we're not going to. Because a lot of us, especially us who basically go over videos like yours, we do our best to try to be civil. Even though to an extent that type of civil behavior should not be warranted towards the individuals we discuss. But we do it anyways. Do our best to. But again, when it comes to cyberbullying, you can't immediately blame the creator that created the content that spoke about you. Because to an extent, the individual that decided to do it did it on their own, even after the creators mentioned the fact that they do not approve of any form of hacking or doxing, cyberbullying, etc. So, this whole argument is stupid. In fact, I'm sure that if it was discovered who gave you the Actman's information, and it was brought up that you were not only doxing but also cyberbullying, a variety of other content creators, or at least your followers were, I'm sure you'd probably be saying the same thing and be saying, oh, it's not my responsibility, it's on them. It's on my followers who basically did this without my knowledge or without my approval of doing it. So, to an extent, you can cut the crap. You can cut the moral high standing, because to an extent, you're not worth it.
And the thing is, you think that this behavior doesn't have consequences. One day, and I'm making this video because one day maybe you guys might actually get someone killed.
You do realize that the same thing can literally be said about you, right? That your content, how you present things, could literally cause somebody to get harmed. I mean, it's already been proof already that you have no qualms to use information that it doesn't belong to you, private information, and contact the families of an individual like the Actman, and to an extent, quote unquote, talk to them about the Actman's behavior. And to an extent, going after families, by the way, is in a sense an intimidation tactic. It's fucked up, and you shouldn't have done it. And stuff like that is literally going to cause somebody's family to get hurt. See, that's the bigger thing. It's like, and honestly, here's the thing. What's worse? What is literally going to cause people to get hurt? A video that's like 30 minutes long of people kind of giving you shit, or literally giving somebody's information out, and that person or the group of people and a family either gets swatted, or somebody goes to their house and, you know, either sets it on fire or plants a fucking bomb. So in reality, you're in the wrong here, not the Act Man. His only crime was making a fucking video on you, just like Mischief and just like you Review Tech USA and just like me. All we did was make fucking videos about you, but you went out of your way to find their families. You went out of your way to contact the families, to create an intimidation tactic. You, sir, are not in the right. You're in the fucking wrong.
And I mean that, because the level of hatred I am receiving is outlandish for the kind of topic that we're talking about. We're talking about, you think I'm abusing the copyright system. It should be as simple as one person has an issue with me, and we take it to YouTube. YouTube says, fuck you, you're wrong, and that's the end of it.
Well, let's go ahead and add to the comedy, because Actman did. Or at least, you know, he was contacted by YouTube when you tried to falsely copyright claim his video. They basically contacted him saying, hey, you're in the right, it's fair use, but you weren't satisfied with that. Instead, you're going out of your way to try to harass and try to silence people for giving you criticism. That's the bottom line. You can't handle criticism. And again, it might be, you know, kind of like the, you know, just the subscribers kind of getting to your head about, you know, doing things the right way. You may think you're some kind of big shit, talking big, acting like the big man, because to an extent, you have some kind of authority when it comes to TVs, or lack of. But to a degree, when people, you know, have considerable distrust of some of your actions and they want to say something about it, you can't handle that. You know, dude, grow the fuck up.
You guys take it and spread it like wildfire to start a mob and incite a mob. And then you don't just stop there, you go even further with it, and some of you start doxing and sharing personal information. And then you go even a step further, you find people in real life, and then you start vandalizing things. And then when you as a creator are approached and told, your video did this, these are your fans that are doing this, dude, you gotta stop.
Oh, hi there, Kettle. Name's Pot. Have we met?
That is something you literally just did, by the way. You literally got a hold of the information of somebody's family and tried to communicate with them, and I'm using quotes, by the way, communicate with them about the video that the Act Man made. Now, I have to ask you, I mean, maybe it just trying to hope that you have some kind of increment, or even a slight chance of self-awareness, and recognize the fact that what you did was not okay. All because somebody made a video giving you shit. Do you see how pathetic this is? Do you see how laughable this is? This all started because you couldn't handle people talking about you. That's fucking pathetic. That's sad.
You guys double down and go, you know what? Fuck you. You're full of shit. You're what is it? You're pathologically lying about this. Why would anyone lie to you about reaching out to you? Bro, ask him. Don't think I'm playing around. I called Act Man's mother to get a hold of him to let him know the kind of damage he was causing, okay?
Yeah, we know. I mean, it's all over Twitter. But to an extent, you shouldn't have. Just because somebody gave you their information did not give you the authority to contact somebody's mom or contact somebody's family. That was not your place to do so. If anything, again, it just, doing something like that really kind of sets up the idea of you being the aggressor. You trying to kind of push Act Man into being silent. But that's not going to work. Really isn't. And I'm sure if you go to the cops, more likely, by the way, with one of your previous comments, I'm sure if you go to the cops and the Act Man is questioned, I'm sure he'll probably mention the fact that a fan of his, or a fan of yours, sorry, basically gave you the information for the Act-Man, and more than likely may charge you for doxing. I wouldn't be surprised for having somebody's private information illegally. So, and that's the issue, though. Is that, I mean, it seems so far, like, looking at some of the evidence presented by your channel, presented by a variety of other content creators, it doesn't seem you really think of the consequences of a lot of things you do, does it?
I'm not fucking around with this, okay? You guys are doing things that people are committing crimes now because they're inspired by the Act-Man.
I doubt that. And again, because, you know, quick rudimentary Google search, nothing's popping up, so you're full of shit.
The Act-Man is essentially their god in this point. He can do no wrong. And you don't understand that this level of fanaticism is dangerous. And you might end up hurting somebody. And I think maybe when you're making these videos, you're trying to defend yourself from your perspective, right? You think you're right. You think I'm wrong. You want to defend your honor. By all means, do that. But the way you guys go about creating content and gathering fans is in a destructive way naturally. And the people you're getting in are very dangerous zealots. And my point is simply this, bro. You guys think you're cool, you think you're hot shit, you think you're celebrities, you think you're whatever, go for it. But if you want to try to cancel me, right? Don't try to act like, hey, I'm not trying to reach out to every one of you guys when I have. And don't act like what you're doing isn't fucked up across all your social media platforms. Because many of you got hella skeletons, as I mentioned in this video. Act-Man using slurs. Griffin Gaming using slurs. Review Tech USA using slurs.
Yeah, and here's the fun fact. All that stuff you said could easily be debunked by a quick rudimentary Google search. And again, if they're doing stuff like that, like, you know, using slurs, to a degree, they more likely would have been canceled due to this, to the current political climate. So this shit of, oh, they're continuously using slurs is absolutely horseshit. And I feel like at this point, the only reason he's saying it is so that way he can try to denounce the individuals who've spoken about him. But unbeknownst to him, it's not going to work. So far, clearly hasn't.
But you know what? It's okay because they apologize. So we just Thanos snap that away and we start from square one? Bro, like, come on, man. Get over yourself. You said something really fucked up. And you're not going to convince people that that's not in your moral character. That's who you are. You don't say wild things like that and then magically, oh, that wasn't me. Bro, like, I can prove I was hacked. I've shown it. I literally, bro, like I told y'all in many response videos, unless I had a fucking crystal ball to predict all of this drama with Elden Ring, there is no fucking way I would install moderators in 2018 to help me with all the hacking, which I've shown in a prior video. Right? But every time I show something, you guys never bring that up. You never mention it. You twist everything I say to make your clicks. And this video will be no different, I swear to God. But, you know, I'm trying to reach you guys to let you know something very simple. You're causing damage, okay? You're doing a lot of harm. And it's not cool. It's not funny. It's not cute. You can dislike somebody without taking it to the level that many of you have. I mean, bro, my website is damaged irreparably because of all of this, right? And then that's solely the Act-Man's responsibility now, right? You people are literally having people damage me in your honor. That's the direct result of your actions, of your video, of the things you said, and the crowd that you've created.
So, once again, quick rudimentary Google search. In fact, you know, looking at YouTube, and nothing comes up about you supposedly, you know, mentioning this whole hacking thing. It was only, you know, the only time it was ever brought up, unless it's on Twitter. But to an extent, anything that was brought up about your so-called hacking comes after the fact that Review Tech was going over your hot takes on social media. And to an extent, at that current point, was mainly every like single social media account of yours was kind of being scrubbed from everything that was said by you. So you can cut the hacker crap. A lot of people aren't buying it.
That's inciting a mob at that point. Like, now again, I'm not gonna sit here and play any kind of fucking games with you guys that you want to play, but I am gonna clear the air, fucking at least attempt to, through a podcast, and just kind of say, hey, listen, if you really suspect that I've done something so unforgivably vile, report it to the authorities, report it to YouTube, whatever. If you really suspect that I'm a horrible human being, report me.
So, I kind of feel like this is the opposite of what you claim you're trying to do. You're not trying to clear the air. What you're doing is basically trying to remove the blame from yourself, which isn't going to work.
Let that be the end of it and move on with your life. You got a whole life ahead of you, right? You're the captain of the JV team, you know? Your bright future ahead of you. You know, that group of kid. Go live your bright future life and leave other people alone, right? You're the first people to talk about, I don't like bullies. We need to take down this bully. And then the moment you get a chance, the moment you get the ability, you start bullying someone else and harassing them and thinking you have them dead to rights. In so many ways, you just don't. And my point is simply this. Had you been watching me from the beginning, had you known who I was from the beginning, you would have known my history with trolls and why they attack me and what they're after and what they've been after. Ninjisha, too, can't keep up at this point. Started all of this attacking of my settings, calling me a fraud, all the shit, because I attacked the 30-year-old reference standards. It's not hard. I don't like the old ways, and I want something new to take over. Something exciting that makes us feel something. And he can't stand that I'm fucking on the platform, running with the whole he's a ban-evader nonsense, and he literally in his own word, like bro, all of you guys have something in common. You guys think you know some shit, jump on that ban-evading bullshit, and then say one thing to me. I've got a guy at YouTube, that's my best friend, we're gonna terminate your channel, so your days are numbered, buddy. All of you say that shit. It has been years you've all been saying that shit. But here's the thing, I'm still here. I'm still not making content that violates any terms of service because I don't do anything to anybody but talk about fucking TVs.
So when it comes down to it, time and time again, because we have to repeat yourselves, because it's like playing a fucking record, to an extent, your content isn't the biggest issue. I mean, when it came to the Elden Ring video, a lot of people had qualms with that. Granted. Now, to the extent, what's really the issue is the fact that, again, you trying to silence people from talking about you. And at this point, especially with you deleting videos, it's created this whole Barbra Streisand effect where now people are more interested in you as a person. And again, you want to try to blame everybody, but it's all on you. And that's the laughable part about this whole situation. All of this is because of your reactions to people criticizing you. You talk like you're some big man. Well, here's a hint. If you want to be a big man, then you know what? Show that they don't affect you. People create a video on you. Okay, don't copyright claim it. It's fair use, especially when, again, with everything, it's under fair use law. It is strictly protected by that law. When people cut it up, respond, and make it a transformative work, you have no authority on that. Now, when it comes down to it, and especially when it comes to harassment, you're the first one that has caused it. Because again, at this point, you, especially with the situation with the Act Man, you're the one who, after getting his information, and I'm sure you'll try to claim, oh, I got it from public records, but another video that has recently came up where apparently you call his mom, and in the tweets it mentions that you called his mom. I doubt that is public record. So you got that from somebody, and you having it and using it to try to create some kind of situation where you try to bully the Act Man into stopping making content on you or pursuing is shameful and is extremely illegal. But you don't want to look at that, considering the fact that, oh, boo-hoo, somebody made a video on me on my bad takes, because, let's face it, they were actually bad takes. Oh no, now people are looking into my past. Oh no, now people see me as a racist. Oh no, now people see me as a homophobe. Dude, at this point, everything that is... And honestly, I want to try to end it, because there was a little bit left, but to an extent, I want to end it, because this is basically us repeating ourselves. So, here's the bottom line. People made a video about you. About your reviews on Elden Ring, which, to an extent, with it being just a, really short video, kind of shows how much you actually went into playing the game. And to an extent has a very shallow opinion about the game itself. And lo and behold, you get frustrated when it turns out, oh, it's not for you. And then at that point, because people call you out, you try to shame people for having a different opinion than you. Then going further than that, you try to bully content creators by falsely claiming people's videos, falsely claiming their videos. And going further than that, when the Act Man, one of the creators that you stupidly went against and tried to attack, and after YouTube basically clearly saying, "Oh no, you're good," everything is protected by fair use. Which honestly, at that point with that interaction, that should have been it for you. But no, you wanted to press on. Actman, and as well as other creators like Review Tech USA and many others, were going out of their way to kind of look into this. Because at this point, you've kind of created this whole situation where, oh my gosh, I need to silence everything that talks about me. But now, because you're basically like a freaking lighthouse to an extent, or a beacon. You did stupid shit, and now people are coming closer to look into you. So stop trying to pull this "oh, they're at fault" bullshit. It's you. The entire time, it's been you. So why don't you act like the fucking adult you claim yourself to be? And at this point, get over it. People have made videos on you, and that is, at this point, just fucking deal with it. Be a man. Be an adult, for that matter. And cut the bullshit. But anyway, I'm done. We're almost like 2 hours in. This has been a really long video. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys have anything you would like to add in this particular video, leave in the comments down below. Love to hear what you guys have to say. I know if I get a couple of responses, I'm sure I will get a couple of fun ones. But anyway, if you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.